Now, so we join me on the box, ready to rock and roll. Now, the first thing that I'm going to tell you about is making sure before you cast that you've not got that line over the tip of the rod. I wouldn't like to say on camera how many times I've not done that when I fished a match or I fished a pleasure session and I'm rushing because the fish are there and it's over the end of that and it's been a crack off, and we definitely don't want to be doing that. The next parts are having your setup in the best sort of formation that you can have. Now, we will go around the box in a minute once we've sort of clipped up, and we will talk about how we should have the rod, how it should be seated, and explain a little bit around that and why we do that. Now, before that, the reel. So the reel, every reel has got what they call a clip on it. So this allows you to get to the distance that you'd like to get, fold the line behind it, and consistently cast that same distance. So I've just had a little cast before and taken off some of the older clips that I've had when I've fished in other places, and now what I'm going to do is cast out and get that right. It might take 2 casts, it might take 5 casts, you know, it just depends. Now, the other thing around that is when I'm doing it is to make sure that I'm trying to hit that consistent place. It needs to be a comfortable distance, it needs to be a comfortable cast, and that we need to make sure that we can do that in the best ability to be able to get there. Now, obviously when you've got bait on, you don't have to cast as hard, it's a lot heavier, and as you'll see, like I said before, we've taken off that hook link to make sure if there is a little bit of snags and we need to come further off, that we don't get on them with the hook and cause ourselves losing a feeder before we've even started. Everybody's done it, and I'm sure you guys watching have done it as well. It's just a little bit of maintenance that helps you when you get set up, and it saves you a pain of having to redo everything all over again, which we definitely don't want to do. So let's get into casting. So casting, I see many people cast like this. They reel up that feeder so it's right at the top of the tip of the rod and they cast like that. That is not the way you need to cast at all. 2 things. One, you're putting a lot of strain on the tip of the rod when you're casting, and it's likely to crack off more often. Also, when you do that, you get less accuracy. The pendulum kind of stroke that I'm going to show you now is about accuracy. It's about being comfortable before you release, and you will find it may take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you do get used to it, you'll be a lot more accurate. Now, I do recommend, if you've got a field or somewhere where you can cast, to just put a bomb on the end and go up there and just practice. Get a deck chair, take it up with you, take a bin lid or top of one of your bait tubs and cast it, try and set a clip, and then try and consistently get close up to it. It's a really easy skill to learn once you've done it a few times, and it will make your fishing miles better, fishing the feeder. Consistency of direction and hitting the same sort of 1 foot squared spot will make you unbelievably better at feeder fishing. Now, some places you can fish, it's good to fish right up against the snags and right up against the island. Normally that would be okay today, but I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can see the reed on the reeds, the mark where the water levels down looks around 6 to 8 inches. So we know that that's going to be super shallow, so we need to come around 1 metre off that. As the slope comes down, we'll get that 1.5 foot of water where the carp cruise, and fingers crossed we can start snagging a few of them. So we've got a couple of foot of line. We're going to then open the bail arm. I'm going to trap it with that finger, so it's not your pointing finger, it's your middle finger. If you were swearing, that's the finger you want to do it, and it's a pendulum action, so you're rocking it forward and back like so, and then it's behind your head and forward. Now, what I'm going to do, it doesn't matter too much on doing that for your first cast, because we're just finding out it's more to the clip up. So we'll find a spot first and we'll get the clip set, then we'll show you that in action. So we're going to swing it back, and we're just going to a light cast. It's a bit too far right, but it's not far off the distance, so I'm going to put a turn on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the line behind the clip. So it's important that you get this right. The easiest way to do is get your finger and sort of pull it tight against the line and run it round and just make sure that it locks off itself. Dry mouth today, it's red hot. And now we're going to cast slightly more to the right. That was I give it a little bit more space than I needed to the left in case we got a flyer. And now we've got that security blanket. I'm going to rock it forward, and I'm going to rock it behind me, and then just a nice little pendulum action. Now I don't know if you saw then, I lifted the rod up and that allowed it to hit the clip and drop down. I can feel there that were a little snaggy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to just reel a little bit until I feel it being a little smoother on the bottom, and I'm going to put that clip back on. Now like I said, it can take a couple of casts. We just need it to be right. Now I felt then that it was snaggy underneath, so I've come away from that with a couple of 6 inches just to be off those snags. So just feeling it down. It's less about the direction at the moment and more about finding the snag. So that was clean. So I'm going to aim at another foot to the left and check that out, because it's probably slightly to the left where I'd like to be. And that feels quite clean. So we're going to go just in between that now on the line that we actually want to fish, which is just on that corner. Swing it forward. We're sinking the tip of the rod, and then we would lay onto us rest, and we'd be good to go. We just turn a little tightness into that, and that would be absolutely perfect. So we're going to give it one more cast so I'm comfortable with where that is. So I'm aiming, there's a last green stick of reed between that and the slightly darker dried out reed is where I'm going as a marker. So it's just to the left of it, but roughly in the right position. So I'm happy for distance there. We just need to be a little bit more to the right of that when we cast. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clip on my hook link, because I'm happy with that, and we will come round and see the placement on the box, and then we'll check on that bait, and hopefully we can get out there and start fishing. Really important that you make sure that seat's on there when you do that. As many times that people, including myself, have done it and it's not actually sat fully on the hook. Now we're fishing a Guru ready-made, which is not something I do very often, but they are quite decent. I've been getting them from my daughter to help her out with speed when I'm not on the peg. The line is like a 6.5 pound-ish main line, and a 3-inch to a 14 with a small band. That is what we're fishing for the terminal part. Like I said, it's 4 pound Maxima, which sounds really, really light, and it is quite light, but it is a light rod, and it does balance itself out.
Hate it when my